Now, what do teachers really think? WFSB conducted a survey with the state's two teachers unions, CEA and AFT-CT. About 1,500 teachers took the survey. We sent it to about 50,000. With us, Mary Kay Rendock. She's a fifth grade teacher at the Carmen Arace Intermediate School in Bloomfield. Also the 2006 Connecticut Teacher of the Year. Also with us, Katie Gale, fifth grade teacher at Hindley Elementary in Darien. And thank you both for being with us here today. So this survey was pretty eye-opening. Let's begin with our very first question here. It was about technology. And let's talk about technology in the schools, because I know, like at my daughter's school, those cell phones are not allowed to be walked around the school. They have to be in the lockers.
Correct.
Let's begin with you, Mrs. Rendock. What do you think about this?
That's our school policy as well, and I think it works very well. We have enough technology for the kids to use when we are looking to use them as educational tools. But we do ask the kids leave their phones in their lockers. And if there's an emergency, we all have classroom phones, which is easy for parents to use. So that's the way we'd prefer to go.
All right. So here's the question we have. Use of smartphones in your school is 51% not allowed, 38% a major distraction that impacts teaching and learning. And Ms. Gale, do you agree with that?
Well, that's really interesting. I echo some of what she has just said, because in our district it's similar issues. At the elementary level, there's no cell phone usage, and if they have one, it doesn't come out. The middle and high school level, I know that some of the high school teachers may use it from time to time for educational purposes, but they do pose I guess a little tease maybe for the children to want to know what's going on next. It's good to have the communication capability, but we also need them present in our room. So it's a balance. I think it's a balance. Let's
also talk about our next question here. Have you ever had to evacuate your classroom due to classroom disruptions that perhaps threaten the safety of students? And the answer is right there. And let's begin with you, Mrs. Rendock.
Personally, no, I have not. But I have seen that in my school, and I have heard about it in the other schools in our district. And I think people err on the side of caution when they are worried that something could go on. You know, plus the children don't really need to see if somebody's really having a tough time and struggling. So we would prefer to have the kids outside so that the adults that are, that are trained and can deal with the kids in a much more productive way.
When did you start teaching?
1986.
1986. And how about you, Ms. Gale?
I started in the 90s, second career.
Are classrooms safer now or less so than when you started?
Well, that's an interesting question. It certainly has changed an enormous amount in the 25 years I've been teaching. Certain protocols are in place that weren't in place 25 years ago for student safety. But as far as situations like you were just describing, one of the things that we desperately need is more support for students who are just probably not getting what they really need. I mean, that's when a student, or even, I mean, if you see it with an adult, but if you see it particularly with a child who is so out of control, so out of control that they're a danger to themselves or others, there's something they need that they're not getting. And some of that comes in the support of social workers, of school psychologists, and so they're really critical. We need to have more of that kind of support in our classrooms for our students.
Have you noticed that family structure has changed in the last 20 years?
Oh, very much so. I don't know if it's a negative thing, though. I think in our district, we see a lot of extended families, maybe a couple generations living under the same roof, so you've got a lot of support from aunts or uncles or grandparents. But in terms of, is it the mom, the dad, and the kids as much as it used to be? No. But I don't think it has too big of an impact.
I want to talk about this technology a little bit more, because it used to be that we had to go to the library and read books and look up an encyclopedia to get all this information. And now you can go on your phone, you can go on your computer and research it. Do you find that that's a help or a hindrance?
I will say it's a balance. One of the things that is a delightful, I mean, for all of us, I think, is that accessibility. The challenge is we need the proper training to help the students get to the right spot. With younger students, there's always, you can't just send them on YouTube. You don't know what's going to be out there. And when they Google things, they may come across something that isn't actually real. So one of the things that probably you're doing as well is we are working hard on that discernment, and that's part now of what we teach. But as an educator, I could use a little more training on how to do that. I need more information. Well, you see how fast it goes.
How is are devices affecting the way that kids act socially in school? Because, maybe not in the 5th grade necessarily. My son's just starting to get into what his sister does in terms of texting friends and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I think it has a great impact on 5th graders. We always hear about the group chat or TikTok or Instagram or all the other social media pressures that the kids face these days. It's intense. And they're accessing information 24/7. They can be on their devices in the middle of the night. The kids need to have boundaries. There needs to be some real parental oversight so that the kids can be safe. Because like you were saying, even YouTube, you put in a search for something on YouTube and you're not sure what's going to come up.
It's pretty
all the time.
surprising. Yeah, we've learned that from a young age. We have the complete survey on our website, but I want to ask you, is there a question that perhaps we didn't ask that we should have?
A question that you should have asked. Wow, let's think about that. I really want to echo back to.
Or how about a question that just stuck with you?
That stuck with me is the support that what has changed, because you had asked some things that have changed with families, as I think what we're either more aware of or certainly now is that we have a lot more of like trauma. We need some training, and we need the supports for that kind of trauma that, well, we all experience, but we seem to have more students who are experiencing that, and they're not coming. Hey, if you're carrying that weight and you're 10, you may not be ready to learn.
Well, I want to thank you for just being teachers, because I think it's so important what you do, and I still have fond memories of my elementary school teachers.
Terrific job.
And that's when you really remember them, because once you get beyond that, you change classes in middle school, and you don't always remember specifically each and every teacher. But thank you for all the great work you do, and thank you for taking the
Appreciate
survey.
that.
Mary Kay Rendock and Katie Gale. Ms. Gale, Mrs. Rendock.